Okay, we're just going to get some practice graphing on this sheet. I'm going to graph 8 different equations and just kind of run through the process of how that works. We will likely do different equations in class because I'm just going to make these up as I go, but this is the general idea behind it. So let's say we had the equation y equals 2x minus 4. So this last number here is where we are going to start. We are going to begin at the end. The 4 is what we call our y-intercept, or our initial value. And so that means we need to come down on the y-axis to -4, and we're going to start right there. The 2 is our slope. And for slope, we always need to think about slope as a ratio of change in y over change in x. And those triangles in math we try to avoid writing words, we use symbols. Those triangles literally mean the word change. And so in this case, the number 2 is equivalent to the fraction 2 over 1. And so that is saying that for every 2 that we go up, because it is positive, we are going to go up. For every 2 that we go up, we are going to go 1 to the right. And we are going to go 1 to the right because the 1 is positive. And so from our first point, up 2 to the right 1, 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 up 2 to the right 1. You only need 2 points to make a line, but for the sake of practicing the slope piece, I chose to do it that way. So that's what the equation 2x minus 4 would look like on a graph. Again, the last number is the initial value, or the y-intercept, and that's where we are going to start. We'll take a look at another one here just to continue with this idea. Y equals -3x plus 4. And so I can see on here that the 4 is my last value. It's my initial value, or my y-intercept. So I'm going to start at 4 on the y-axis. And that -3, remember, change in y over change in x is what slope is. So -3 over 1 is the fraction equivalent of -3. So that means from our starting point, which is 4 on the y-axis, we are going to go down 3 because it's negative, and then to the right 1 because the 1 is positive. So down 3 and to the right 1, down 3 to the right 1, down 3 to the right 1. Okay, that's the process. We'll do a few more. We're going to have this time y equals, I'll do a positive 4, x minus 5. So again, we look for the initial value. The initial value is the -5. Oops. That is a -5 on the end there, not a positive 5. We need to keep the sign with the number. So coming down to -5, that is our initial value. That's where we are starting. Change in y over change in x would make that 4 over 1. And so we're going to go up 4 because it's positive, and to the right 1. And then again, and I don't have enough room to do that again, so make our line. And that's what that would look like on a graph. Let's try another. This time we'll do 2 negatives. The slope will be negative, and we will have a negative y-intercept. So my initial value is -1. Come down to -1, plot my point. And then -2x says the change in y there over change in x would be -2 over 1. So down 2 and to the right 1. Okay. And this is a good opportunity to speak about, you could also go in reverse. So instead of down 2 and to the right 1, I could go up 2 and to the left 1. Up 2 and to the left 1. See how it's continuing to make that straight line? If you choose to do that, you just have to be careful that you're doing the exact opposite of what your slope says. So there are 4 that have all whole numbers in them. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about some that have fractions as the slope. I'm going to erase now, so if you need this, pause it, and we'll be ready to go the next one in just a moment. Okay, so now we are going to consider if we had a slope that was a fraction and not a whole number. So let's say that my equation was y equals 2/3 x minus 3. So now, looking at this, my initial value is -3. Remember that the sign in front of that number does need to stay with it, so that's where we would start. And I am going to look at the change in y over the change in x to figure out the slope here. The change in y over the change in x is +2 over +3. So that says from your starting point, go up 2 and to the right 3. Okay, and I could again go in reverse. I could go down 2 and to the left 3. If that's something that's making sense to you, feel free to do that. If it is not making sense to you, just stick with going to the right. Okay. Next, we'll do a couple double negatives. So y is equal to 1/3. I'll make it negative. -1/3 x minus 2. And so again, that minus sign on the 2, the initial value stays with that number. So our initial value is going to be -2. And then -1/3 says down 1 and to the right 3. Down 1 and to the right 3. You can also again do the opposite of that, up 1 and to the left 3. And for some people that makes total sense. For other people that's sort of confusing. So if going to the left is confusing to you, just worry about going to the right. Okay, I'm going to move down. We'll do a couple more with fractions. This time we'll have a negative slope and a positive y-intercept. And so we will have a y-intercept of +4, meaning we need to start up here at 4. And then that -3 over 4 says to go down 3 and to the right 4. Again, we only need 2 points to make a line, so I'm just going to sketch it as best I can on here. My best guess at what a line passing through those 2 points would be. Fairly simple process. The last one, we are going to have both be positive. So we will say y equals 2/3 x plus 1. So we're going to go to 1 on the y-axis. That is our initial value. And then we have 2/3. So up 2 and to the right 3. Or down 2 and to the left 3. Either way will work. I always start with the way it's written and then go do the opposite after I've gotten all the points that I can. Okay. That's kind of a quick crash course on how to graph linear equations. I hope this is helpful.